I'd driven by this old farmhouse dozens of times on the way up to our property, and even before we owned our property, I always found myself looking at that home thinking if those walls could talk. I knew it had to be over 100 years old, but I liked the style, I liked the craftsman simplicity that was there. And I kept thinking to myself, I bet it's similar in size to the dimensions of the shop house that we intend on building. So I stopped and asked the homeowner if I could pull some measurements off the house and look at it a little bit, and she happily agreed. So I grabbed my wife and we ran over there. The 20 by 40 footprint that we have for the shop house comes from mainly the fact that we just don't have a whole lot of room to go any bigger than that. But I also thought in my head that dimension is plenty big enough for my family, and it's also a fairly easy dimension to build from. Just as I suspected, as I pulled the measurements, I quickly found out that this old farmhouse was 24 feet 6 inches by 42 feet 6 inches. So very comparable in size to our shop house. And this told me a lot by standing back and looking at it. It made me feel actually pretty good about the direction we were going. The space above the shop will be turned into bedrooms and one bathroom. This is where we will live. I'll never understand why more people don't utilize that wasted space above their homes. Where I come from in Arizona, most homes use a truss system like this diagram here, which to me is wasted space. Board and batten siding has a long history in this country. It oftentimes goes back to a poor way of living when green wood would be cut and used, and as the wood would dry, they had to use batten strips to keep the wind and the cold out. This style of siding has come back in a big way, and we found a company out of Utah that takes reclaimed cedar and repurposes it in a number of ways, and board and batten is one of the ways. They also do what's called a wavy edge or a live edge siding, which we love, and we can go and buy this cedar siding directly, install it ourselves, and save big time on the cost. The idea of putting a vinyl siding on a house up there on our property is offensive to me. We love the look of natural woods, especially woods that are going to last a long time in the cedar wood that we're using. We're trying to use it everywhere we can. We also feel like it represents the look that we're going for. We love the look of these old barns and shacks of yesterday, and we hope that our homestead has a similar look, but we also hope that this cedar siding lasts a long, long time with the weather that we have in Idaho. My grandfather on my mom's side was born in Whitley County, Kentucky, and he left home during the Depression and had to work to help feed his family, and it seemed that he wanted to get away from that lifestyle. Even his parents wanted to get away from that lifestyle, and they eventually moved out to Arizona. Ironically, that lifestyle that my grandfather and his parents seemed to want to get away from, I find myself being drawn to, especially the ways of the old timers and the hand craftsmanship. They built their homes by themselves. They would have family members help them, they would have neighbors help them, and they did it all themselves. My theory behind our homestead home will be a mix of old and new. While I will incorporate everything I can from the old days, I will also do everything I can to incorporate the technologies that we have today, like solar, like septic, like running water, things that will naturally make our lives a little bit easier. I don't feel there has to be a compromise in this movement of living off grid. I believe that I can have some of these amenities that we have in our regular life up there as well. Now, if our shop house ends up looking anything like this, we will have succeeded. In my opinion, this is the look that we are 100% going for, and I hope that this is what our shop house looks like when we're done.